In this video, I'm going to go over how I learned to sell high-ticket services in the agency space and the 3 key lessons that I had to have in place for this to happen. So I want to start off by saying that by all means, I'm no Hormozy, I'm no Grant Cardone in terms of sales experience yet. But what I do want to share is personal experiences that's really helped me, and that's helped me to go from not being able to sell a $250 setup cost on a performance basis to charging 10, 20 times that amount and closing at around 60%, relatively easy. So what I'm saying is I really wish I had a video like this when I started out. If you don't know who I am, my name's Ethan Welby. I'm the founder of ETL Digital. We partner with established marketing agencies to help them add an extra $100,000 a month within around 6 to 9 months by building out client acquisition machines. Right, so the first lesson that I had to learn was that prospects should feel understood. So when I started, I understood my niche perfectly. I was an agency selling to agencies, so all their problems, I knew them. So for example, I'd ask a question like, what are your biggest problems? What are you struggling with right now? And they'd give, the whole long answer, but they'd end with, yeah, I'm just not I don't have a client acquisition system. I don't have a way to speak to qualified prospects. And because I knew it, because I knew the answer, I expected it, I just moved to the next one because I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't say that, but I thought it. So I'd just breeze through the sales call so quickly, and by the end of it, they wouldn't buy. I'd be like, what did I do wrong? I understood you. But the problem was that they didn't feel like I understood them. So what I shifted to doing was repeating back to them what they were saying and then asking follow-up questions based on the answers. So for example, if I asked the question like, what are you struggling with? What's your main issues right now? And they'd say, I don't have the client acquisition system. I don't have a lead gen system. Then my response would be something like, great, so just so I know I hear you correctly, you have all the foundations in place. You have the systems, you have the team, you have a great delivery, but you're just not speaking to enough qualified people. So if you can do that every single day, scale would pretty much be inevitable. And then you just see their eyes light up because that's exactly what they want to hear. And because they feel understood, it's just going to build so much trust and so much rapport. And it's going to result in them thinking that you really are the solution to their problems, which you should be. So like I was saying, repeat back what they're saying in your own words or even in their words. Either one is fine. And watch how they continue to add points to it and add more information, because they understand that this is really the problem that they're facing and you can actually help them. Right, so the second lesson that I learned was to go from selling services to selling outcomes. So the biggest mistake that I first made when I was running the agency is talking about what I did. And I spoke about this in another video as well. But the main lesson that I learned was that people don't care about what you do. People only care about what you can do for them. So in my sales calls, when I would get to my pitch, I would do what they call tool talk. So I would talk about the domains, the email copy, how to set everything up. And I'd go through a long 20-minute tutorial on how to set up email domains, and they just didn't care. And beyond not caring, they just didn't know what I was talking about. So by the end of the call, they didn't want to buy because they didn't even know what was going on. Right, so the shift that I made was going from selling the service to selling the outcome. And I did it as simply as possible because a confused buyer is never going to buy. So what you want to do is really simplify it down to its foundational parts and then speak about it like that. So an example of this is if you're selling lead gen, if we're selling lead gen to you, then what we don't want to do is talk about, yeah, we're going to set up this domain, we're going to do this DMARC record, we're going to set up this in Google, we're going to write this copy, because they don't care. And they really don't understand it. And they don't really want to understand it because they want you to handle this. So really what you can do is speak about it extremely simply. So if I was to give an example of how we'd pitch a service now, it would start with something like this. So there's 3 things that we need to do to help you to sign clients and build your acquisition system. So the first is the offer, right? In the agency space, everyone looks exactly the same. So we build out a brand new offer, which positions you as extremely unique. So you stand out, book more meetings and sign more clients. Then the next thing you need is a system to get in contact with these prospects every single day. So what we'll do is have a team reach out to them through email, LinkedIn, and get them onto calls with you. Then the third and final component is a sales process. So what we'll do is build out a brand new process that you can follow step by step, and we'll review it every single week to make sure you're closing as many clients as possible. That is an example of a super simple pitch, and just notice how much more appealing it sounds because of the simplicity of it, right? We're just talking about what the outcomes will be. Build a new offer to stand out, contact people, qualified people, and help you sell. That's it. Right, so the third and final lesson is to solve the problem but only the problem in their mind. So I'm going to go into detail about this now. But to give a quick story, when I was on a sales call to get sold into like a coaching program, the way they structure it is in their offer, they have a 3-pillar system. So they help with 3 things. I think it was offer, marketing, and sales. And as we went through the calls, we really figured out that my biggest problem was sales at the time, before I joined the program. So when it came down to the actual pitch at the end of the call, when they were going to tell me how the program works, what they did was incredibly smart. They didn't even spend any time talking about, the offer component of their coaching program. They didn't talk about the marketing component because I had all of those things already. What they did was only speak on sales. So, for example, 95% of the pitch was just talking about how they're going to improve my close percentage, how we're going to get more leads in to close, how we're going to do this, and this. And the reason that they did this was because they realized that I didn't care about anything else. They easily could have split the pitch into, for example, 33% marketing, 33% offer, 33% sales, like dividing it equally up. But what they did was shift it completely to sales because they knew that is the problem in my mind. I didn't think marketing was a problem. I didn't think offer was a problem, so they didn't talk about it. And that's how you can sell extremely effectively. You need to speak and emphasize on the points that the prospect mentions are the biggest issues, right? So when I'm on a call with a prospect and they tell me that the biggest problem is lead gen, they're just not speaking to enough qualified prospects, I'm not going to talk about the sales training that we give them. I'm not going to talk about the consulting calls that we have with the CEOs every single week. I'm not going to talk about, all the accountability stuff that we have. Even though we do all those things, we need to emphasize the point that they really want to focus on, which is the lead gen. So I'll spend most of my pitch saying, yeah, so you have all these systems in place, you're ready, you have the team, you have the structure, you have the case studies, everything is ready. If we can just get you in contact with your ideal prospect every single day and you can speak to tons of them for hours on end, would you at least be able to sell some of them? And they'll be like, yeah, that's the dream. So just to end that one off, you really just want to emphasize and focus on what's in their mind. Not everything about your program, what's in their mind. Right, so those are the 3 lessons that I've learned from not being able to close a $250 setup cost to charging 10 to 20 times more that and closing at around 60%. Right, the prospect needs to feel understood, you need to sell outcomes, not services, and you need to solve the problem in their mind. Right, so if you found this video useful, I'd recommend liking or subscribing just so you can get recommended more videos like this, as opposed to other ones that aren't really going to help you grow your agency.